The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. You are watching the Final Four presented by AT&T. About ready to tip here at Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona. South Carolina and UConn. Later on tonight, Texas and UCLA. Here we go. The Final Four is underway.
See UConn starting out in a man-to-man defense. That's the player, Tessa Johnson, that they are most concerned about on the perimeter because of the way she's been shooting the threes, especially here in the tournament.
Here's Latson hooking it up and in. Typical bucket from Tania Latson to get the scoring started.
Taking it right at Sarah Strong. Smart. The best defense against Sarah Strong is to try to tag her with some early fouls.
Strong a three off the mark. Sarah Williams loses it out of bounds. It'll stay with UConn. They play off of Williams. We saw Notre Dame do that successfully in the Elite Eight. Here's Shade forcing it up. Doesn't get the roll. And UConn has missed its first three attempts from the floor. Tessa Johnson run off from the corner. Needs three bodies, and Sarah Strong with those hands able to snatch it away. Arnold tosses in. Williams flips it up and in.
Deep breath. It's hard to catch your wind, first of all, but the moment is so big you need to settle in.
Here's Latson with some space. Unable to hit. Rebound poked out of bounds, and it will be UConn basketball. This was the first regular season in 11 years where these teams did not meet. They'll pick that series back up next season. Here is Spud wrapping around. Arnold gives it back. Spud, the most outstanding player of last year's tournament. Looking for help. Shade on the cut. Williams draws two and still finishes.
You see both teams defensively will switch, especially on on-ball action, and that time UConn able to make the extra pass and take advantage.
Tessa Johnson with a nice move, just couldn't quite squirt it in. Here comes Strong, spinning, hooking, didn't get the roll, and Agot the rebound. Good pressure from UConn, and Fudd and Shade take it away. Fudd in and out on a three. And Raven Johnson busts it down the floor for the Gamecocks. Latson the fake and the lay. Tania Latson has the first two buckets of the Final Four for the Gamecocks.
Tania Latson doing a really nice job off the bounce, exploding to the rim. That's one of the things she brings, is her ability to get in the paint off the dribble.
Shade adds some space, now finds a seam and lays it in. Agot is a threat from three, and you can see Gino Auriemma saying, get that hand up. As that's out of bounds off of Agot, and KK Arnold's pressure making a difference. Shade told us the other day, all those missed shots, it doesn't matter, we're here. She also said she likes these rims better than the ones in Fort Worth.
I think everyone likes these rims better than the ones in Fort Worth.
Here's Arnold working behind Strong. Jana El Alfie in for Sarah Williams for Connecticut. A hot potato there. Strong has to pull. And hits from three.
When she catches it on the perimeter.
Sarah Strong, who has been sweeping the National Player of the Year honors. Agot, no. Strong the rebound. Pushing pace for Connecticut. Strong looking to take Edwards. Muscles, takes, and finishes. Sarah Strong separating as UConn is on a 7-0 run.
Somebody that Agot miss on the last possession. Dawn Staley said she was a little bit worried about the nerves settling in for Agot here in her first Final Four.
That was the one player she had that concern with as Tessa slips to the cup. Tessa Johnson has always performed in these moments. Won a championship as a freshman. Strong, not that time. Agot the rebound. Here comes the junior Tessa. Tessa's pull-up is good. 4 straight from Tessa Johnson to steady things for the Gamecocks. Shade will fire and hit from 3. A long 2. Makeer has increased her scoring so much in this tournament as Edwards can't finish. Miriam Dowd has stepped out, and it will be Alona Marr, Katie Feeney, Jess Sims, and the Stud Buds.
You and I should start wearing shades when we call games courtside.
I just have a feeling we wouldn't make them look as good as Courtney and Letitia do. Here is Quiñones, can't finish. And the rebound bangs into the arms of Raven Johnson. Tessa Johnson fires, can't hit. Joyce Edwards the O-board, another chance for the Gamecocks. Edwards trying to work strong. Edwards able to finish. Slipped it in after officiating 26 Final Fours. Dee is our rules analyst, so anything sticky comes up, Dee will be here to help guide us through it. Here is Spud, circling, kicking, 5 to shoot. Heckel fading and knocking it down. First points in the Final Four for Kaylee Heckel. Heckel told us the other day when she first got to UConn, she wondered, am I good enough? But Gina Oriema and this team has gotten her so much better that it has grown her confidence as Makeer gets fouled by Quiñones. Makeer, partner, Agot Makeer, the leap she has taken, incredible. In the regular season, she averaged under 6 points per game. In the tournament, she's averaged almost 15 per game.
She makes an impact on the defensive end of the floor. She's a 6'1 guard, 6'4 wingspan.
Under a minute to go in this first quarter. First of 2 semifinals tonight in Phoenix. UCLA, Texas up next.
Again, the versatility defensively of Raven Johnson. They have her. Dawn Staley has her guarding Sarah Strong right now with this lineup in the game.
Raven Johnson, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year this season. Raven trying to come back to the basketball. Calms things down. Knows the 2-for-1 is gone. About a 9-second difference game in shot clock. Tessa, hounded by Shade. Latson, 3 to shoot. Latson scoops it up and off. Rebound pokes around. Ends up back with South Carolina. Makeer, connect on a 3. Tie game after 1. What a big O-board and finish from 3 from Makeer. 15 all after the first in Phoenix.
South Carolina is one of the best offensive rebounding teams.
Raven Johnson has taken a huge leap, came back for an additional year at South Carolina, and it has paid massive dividends for Raven and for the Gamecocks. Start of the second quarter, Blanca Quiñones on the bench with 2 fouls for UConn. Here's Spud, guarded by Makeer. UConn having a tough time getting it going. Raven Johnson is going to get called for the foul in pursuit of the ball. Looked like she had a fistful of jersey first and then finally got called on the push after the knockaway. That's the first personal on Raven Johnson. Shade off the bounce. Shade will fire a deep 3. No. Williams trying to get to the glass, and at last hits her. And the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final Four begins tomorrow. Arnold, Bud, Strong, Shade, and Sarah Williams for UConn. Okat giving some space. Johnson twisting, taking, can't hit. Strong the rebound. Pressure in the backcourt from South Carolina. Here comes KK Arnold. Bud meets body. Strong open. Can't hit. Long board. Bud able to save it and is fouled by Raven Johnson. And that'll be number 2 on her. So now 2 on Raven Johnson and 2 on Blanca Quiñones.
What you're looking at, that second angle shot is best, is actually the left hand in the middle of the back that forces her out. You can't just call the out of bounds on that situation. Have to go with the foul.
All right, thank you, Dee, our rules analyst. Spent 36 seasons as an NCAA official. 5 seasons in the NBA, 26 Final Fours. Bud loses it. Latson has it. Denia Latson dashes to the cup. Latson second in the country in fast break points per game. Bud off, rebound Latson. Bud now 0-3 from the floor. Latson storming in, gets denied by Strong, and it will stay with South Carolina. Sarah Strong averaging over 1.5 blocks per game. Quiñones in for UConn, playing with those 2 fouls. Makeer can't finish it. Agot the offensive rebound. And another chance for the Gamecocks.
Dawn Staley said the one thing we need from Agot is to get 20 boards here tonight. She said rebounding is not a skill, it's a decision. She has to be thrilled with the way her center has gone and attacked the glass.
She has 4 already, and South Carolina +7. There's Strong on the steal. Strong gets fouled by McDaniel, and Sarah Strong will shoot 2. See her numbers, the only player averaging 20 or more at 60% from the floor against South Carolina, while Dawn has been there. It's almost like LT back in the day in football, where if you had the football anywhere around him, you're worried about him just on his own taking it away. Sarah Strong has those kind of hands defensively. McDaniel, who has grown a lot throughout this season, is a sophomore for South Carolina. Tessa lays it in. Quiñones had to be careful there playing with 2.
Smart to continue to attack players in foul trouble.
Largest lead for South Carolina. Arnold can't finish the lay. Here comes Johnson. Tessa tosses in. Edwards, the footwork and the finish. It's a 5-point Gamecock lead.
South Carolina has been deliberate, either off the bounce or entering it into the post, but getting their touches in the paint.
An 11-1 South Carolina run. Strong lost it off her foot, out of bounds. UConn discombobulated right now on the offensive end. UConn, such a prodigious three-point shooting team, 1 of 6 thus far. Shade knocks it away. UConn comes up with it. Here's Quiñones. Couldn't get around Edwards. Shade bodies in and banks it home. It's like a pinball. Shade already with 6 points tonight. Tessa Johnson skates through. Can't swirl it in. Edwards the putback. Rims off. This time Strong secures the rebound, but South Carolina has dominated on the glass in his first half.
South Carolina has the size and they have the players with the instinct to get to the glass. It's one of the areas they've been very good all season long.
A 17-9 advantage on the boards for the Gamecocks. They have 7 offensive rebounds. Bud out to Strong. Doesn't take. Gonna drive it instead and finish the lay. 8 points for Sarah Strong. Quite the second quarter and first half that Tim and our crew have been capturing. South Carolina, a 1-point lead. They've dominated the glass. Makeer can't finish. Strong off the rebound, pedaling ahead. Here's Strong behind the back, mid-range, too much on it. Got it back though. Strong can't lay it in. And Makeer comes down with it as we check in with Holly Rowe.
In that last huddle, Gino Auriemma told his team, everybody needs to take a deep breath right now. There's 4 minutes left in this half, and we haven't even really started to play our kind of basketball yet. He said it's too much one-on-one.
Matches up a little bit better with what when UConn goes small.
Bud fires in. Quiñones puts it down in a crowd. Somehow was able to hang on and finish. First points of the game for Blanca Quiñones, who in the Elite Eight became the first UConn player with 20 points off the bench in an Elite Eight game or later in the tournament. Tessa bounces. Edwards off the mark. Arnold caught flat-footed. Edwards couldn't put it in. Here comes Bud. Bud wheeling into the paint. AZ Bud is on the board.
This is a team who has shot the 3-ball well all season long, not necessarily here in the tournament, and she's their main gun from the perimeter.
South Carolina will take a timeout. 2:08 to go in the first half. UConn a 1-point lead. Diana, 3-time champion UConn, and Paige, of course, a champion last year.
But that competitive fire is in her. She's just got to get comfortable making sure her teammates allow her to have that voice.
Well, and Holly, your teammates said, no, don't apologize. We like it when you yell like that. Heckel takes it away from Edwards. 3-on-1 developing. Not well executed by Heckel. Here's Strong. Mid-range off the mark. Rebound Latson. Latson having a very productive opening half. Held up here, and the possession arrow belongs to UConn. 2 big defensive plays in a row for Kaylee Heckel. Looking fabulous as always. 9 turnovers for South Carolina in this opening half. Here's Strong turning the corner. Shade a 3 is good.
Drawing the defenders, giving Ashlyn Shade the time and space for the 3.
They call it a 2 for Shade. So the second time that Shade has had her toe on the line on a long jump shot.
She's finally found her stroke, as you mentioned, had been struggling through the first 4 games of this tournament.
Here's Fudd firing. No. McDaniel the rebound. Blasting into the front court. Has a ton of speed. McDaniel had it knocked away, but a foul. When you were a senior, the weight of the world that's on your shoulders this weekend, everyone's looking at you. So now when you play great, it feels good in a way that you can't understand unless you've done it, which AZ did last year. He said, but unless you've been there, you just can't comprehend what those seniors are feeling. And he mentioned not only AZ, but a Raven Johnson. Here's Fudd, giving it up. Heckel, little pull-up jumper, won't go. Shade comes in with the rebound. Fudd, a wide-open 3 is off the mark. Agot the rebound. South Carolina can hold for a final shot. Tessa Johnson gets it in the arms of McDaniel. South Carolina has dominated the glass in this first half. A +9. McDaniel kicks. Edwards, 3 seconds left. Pops it up and off. And that will do it for the first half. A back and forth opening 20 minutes. And UConn, a 2-point lead over South Carolina. And UConn trailed nearly as much in that first half as they did the first 4 games of the tournament combined. Here we go, third quarter action. Third time in the last 5 seasons these 2 teams are meeting in the Final Four. Raven Johnson had it knocked off of her out of bounds. Great dig from Arnold. Maintain a 2-point lead. That's the 10th turnover they've forced.
UConn playing to their strength, forcing turnovers. South Carolina playing to theirs, getting to the offensive glass.
Bud misses everything. One thing he has emphasized to us over and over again through the years, I don't care if AZ's missing. I want to make sure she keeps shooting.
He wants her to continue to be aggressive on the offensive end of the floor.
And you wonder if at this point the misses are in her head at all. With the way the sharpshooter has struggled. Agot able to finish over Williams. Medina Agot with her first point. Doesn't take the 3. Shade on the drive, draws 2. And then Raven Johnson comes up with a steal. Raven will lay that one in.
He's defending strong was where she got her fouls.
But again hesitates. Gonna drive it, misses the scoop. Shade will back it out for UConn. Strong firing away, can't hit. Latson off the rebound. Latson shovels. Agot gets fouled by Strong. And that'll be the first person.
Raven Johnson just jumping the route, knowing the ball is being passed up top and getting easy to the other way. Coach Oriema frustrated. We've seen South Carolina both halves do a really nice job, whether it's on steals or even off defensive boards, of being intentional, pushing pace the other way, testing UConn's transition defense.
Agot hits the first free throw.
Medina is an incredible story. She didn't touch a basketball in life until 2019, growing up in a small farm community in Kenya. really started training it. It took her about 3 weeks to learn how to dribble and learn the rules and even learn how to play basketball. But now here she is playing in a Final Four. It's been a quick tutorial, but she has been a fast learner and doing very well.
Great stuff, Al. Just a remarkable story. A 6-0 run from South Carolina. KK Arnold into the paint. Good footwork and banks it in.
One of the things Coach Oriamo was telling us this morning is that we don't have a player who can just go get a shot out of the pick and roll game. They were able to rely on Paige Beckers a lot doing that last year.
Edwards slides inside. Oriama calling out a play to KK Arnold. Shade with space. Missed it. UConn, a paltry 1 of 11 from 3. Latson gets fouled, and it'll stay here with South Carolina. Now UConn goes with their small lineup, which they weren't able to deploy a ton in the first half because of Quiñonez's foul troubles. Latson hits the free throw. One thing Gino Oriama emphasized to us the other day, he said, people ask, why don't you start Blanca Quiñonez? But I always love having someone who can come off the bench and change a game. In their 54-game winning streak, only one of those wins was decided by single digits. That was against Michigan earlier this year. Heckel missed everything. Here comes Latson. Makeer connects.
And again, South Carolina pushing pace, and they can do it as well when they go small, which is where they've gone here to counter Connecticut.
UConn needs a timeout. Prodigious three-point shooting. That has not been the case in the tournament, and it certainly has not been the case tonight. Quiñonez on the drive, misses wildly. Down the floor, great hands from Edwards. Tessa Johnson backing away, firing short, and the rebound Shade midway through this third. Bud on a bullet pass out to Quiñonez. Shade curling, taking. How good has Ashlyn Shade been? 10 points on 5 of 9 shooting.
Ashlyn Shade has saved all of her makes in the tournament for this national semifinal game.
Entered this game shooting 28.5% from the floor in the tournament. Makeer off to Edwards. Edwards able to finish through some contact. Will fire. Can't hit. Rebound poked out. Loose ball. South Carolina had it. Shade had Bud to her left, but decided to shoot it herself. Latson can't lay it in, and a whistle is going to put Latson. D, any issues with that?
Oh, you have your trail official coming from deep who has that lane of vision to see that. Wyatt came kind of late from the trail.
Heckel into Strong, off the window, couldn't get it to go. In a crowd, Heckel forces it out to Shade. Shade doesn't take the three. Heckel will fire. Hands hit. That's a huge one for UConn. Here's Raven Johnson with 2:10 to go in the third. Latson a three. Back ironing off. Rebound UConn. Trying to put 2 possessions together. Something they haven't been able to do in the third. Strong getting the touch. Strong back to Shade. Shade on the drive. Has it deflected. Bud over to Quiñonez. Her three is good.
Multiple players who shoot at a high efficiency just haven't done so for most of this game.
Heckel trailing, going for the steal, and Raven Johnson stepped out of bounds.
A 10-point game goes to a 4-point game pretty quickly. When you have players who can make shots from 3, you see the effort from Heckel. Then she gets up, able to relocate to the baseline corner, drain the 3, and then the ensuing possession. Blanca Quiñonez hitting from up top.
They were 1 of 11 now, 2 for their last 2. Bud, can she get in on the act? You bet! 3 straight threes. How does South Carolina respond now? That's going to be a foul on Zabel. South Carolina in the bonus. And so Tessa Johnson will go to the line. Tessa Johnson, 81% on the season. Carries South Carolina, meanwhile, as a team, just 1 of 4 from 3 in this game. Johnson, their biggest threat from downtown. 0 for 2. Here is Fudd. Fudd with space, didn't take it. Quinones will and can't get it to go. An air ball out of bounds off of Peckle. South Carolina can essentially hold. Daniel will let some clock wind. You can see Dawn Staley saying, wait a second. South Carolina, no field goals the last 4+ minutes. Double comes. Johnson baseline. Jumper is good. 7 seconds left in the quarter. Strong with some haste. 2 seconds. Strong gets it off. Can't hook it in. Tessa Johnson scores the final 4 of the third after Connecticut had cut it to 1.
Kind of wild turn of events. Sarah Strong's jersey is split right down the middle. I saw you speaking to the refs about it. What message did you try to convey?
Right. There were 6 fouls called that quarter, all of them against us. And they've been beating the shit out of our guys down there the entire game. And I'm not making excuses because we haven't been able to make a shot. But this is ridiculous. Their coach rants and raves on the sideline and calls the referee some names you don't want to hear. And now we get 6-0, and I got a kid with a ripped jersey, and they go, I didn't see it. Come on, man. This is for the national championship.
Sarah Strong actually rips the jersey herself. Now, we could not tell whether or not it was torn a little bit before she did that, but clearly she made the big tear. And now Sarah Strong is actually going to have to switch jerseys and wear number 55.
Well, all I can say is that play that you just showed of Sarah Strong going to the basket, there is no illegal contact evident, and her shirt wasn't ripped prior to her doing that. I mean, obviously, maybe there was a little tear before. It is unusual to go through an entire quarter without a foul on the team, but there's nothing that has that's really stuck out evidently that they are missing.
All right, thank you very much, D. Here we go, 4th quarter, a trip to the national championship game on the line. McDaniel goes baseline, can't finish it. Strong comes down with the rebound, and there does get a whistle. Clearly a foul there on Edwards that was called. After no fouls on the Gamecocks in the third. It's spicy in Phoenix. Here's Fudd. Fudd on the drive. Little floater won't go. Makeer comes up with a rebound. Here's Makeer all the way in. Lays it home.
The future is so bright for this young woman.
Dawn Staley talked about how she had absolutely no worries about Makeer in this stage, how she's built for it, as Edwards picks up another foul.
See the cut by Sarah Strong coming across. A little bit of a nudge.
I mean, D, is the messaging from Gino playing out here as Fudd connects her second straight 3. Johnson waiting. Arnold battling, took it away. And that's going to be a held ball. UConn has the possession arrow.
Hickey Arnold did a terrific job icing the screen, forcing Johnson to stay on the right side.
First in the nation in points off of turnovers. Just under 33 a game. Bud, the senior. Off to Strong, the sophomore. Quinones, the freshman, gets fouled by Makeer. And Quinones at the line as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Some scouts from the Italian national team saw her play. She was so good, they convinced her and her mother to move to Italy. She started playing with the senior national team, 13 years old. She's been there playing. That experience internationally has served her well.
No doubt, Ollie, 15-plus points her first 4 tournament games. 2-point game now in this fourth. McDaniel wrapping in and banking it home. What a big bucket from Maddie McDaniel.
South Carolina spent quite a bit of time yesterday working against the full court pressure. Handled it beautifully there.
Shade on the attack. Shade couldn't finish. Here comes McDaniel, has a lot of speed. Latson trying to get around Quinones. Will they score the bucket? No. They will call the foul on the floor, but that's a critical one. Number 4 on Blanca Quinones. Going to ride out the freshman with 4 fouls. McDaniel struggling to get it in. Off to Makeer, a deep 3. You bet! Connecticut has won 54 straight games. They have won those games by an average of 36 points per. Shade, guarded by McDaniel, 8 to shoot. Fudd trying to come free. Hounded by Tessa Johnson. Strong will fire and hit. Makeer on the drive, can't flip it in. Williams the box out. An opportunity for UConn. Arnold blitzing into the paint, gets denied by Edwards, who controls it. Then Edwards in some trouble, able to save it to McDaniel. Latson just gets it across. Makeer lays it in. Makeer now with 14. Fudd didn't take. Out to Strong. Strong on the drive. The mid-range. Short. Williams battling, and it's out of bounds off of UConn.
Done a good job pushing the ball up the floor quickly.
And Gino Auriemma was concerned about the Gamecocks in transition. The focus of his and shoot-around today. 6 points, South Carolina lead coming on 3 minutes to go. Latson on the drive. Agot, oh yes! Fudd through the lane, can lay it in. UConn shooting a measly 32% from the floor. This is the team with the #1 field goal percentage in the country this season, 52%. Strong nearly knocked it away, now does. Strong after it, can't save it. 8 on the shot clock. Heckel will check in for UConn. Strong, Heckel, Shade, Arnold, and Fudd. That is a really small lineup for the Huskies.
But also a very quick and good defensive lineup for UConn.
Johnson open, off the mark, rebound knocked around. Latson able to grab it for South Carolina, and McDaniel will run some clock.
Latson has been outstanding on the glass this entire game. That was her 10th board, the 5'9" guard.
Averages under 3 a game. Latson on the drive, gets fouled by Arnold, and Tanaya Latson will go to the line. 4 members of the Gamecocks in double figures. Latson buries the free throw. Tanaya Latson came to South Carolina to try and round out her game, prepare for the pros, and play in a Final Four, which is known as just a scorer at Florida State. She's done all the little things here tonight, including the 10 rebounds. You see, the last time UConn was held under 50. It was South Carolina in the 2022 title game. Heckel coughs it up. Edwards trapped in the backcourt. Johnson gets it ahead. And a foul applied by Fudd will put Edwards at the line. A 71% free throw shooter. Edwards buries the first. Misses the second. Strong the rebound. Just 3 second-half points for Sarah Strong. Fudd has just 8 on the night. Heckel left alone. Misses the layup. And it's been that kind of night for UConn. And you just feel for a young woman and those instant tears after a moment like that.
South Carolina has been unbothered for all of this game.
Latson with a double-double in her first Final Four. And Latson makes it a 13-point game. 1 minute to go.
Smart. South Carolina picking up to slow Connecticut down.
Strong backs away. UConn needs threes in a hurry. Fudd can't give him one there. Raven Johnson the rebound. Latson breaks the timeline, and it is all cosmetic at this point. Latson hits another. Dawn Staley yesterday talking about UConn said they have been the standard in women's basketball for a very long time, and everyone has to measure up to the standard. They allow us something to reach for. It helps us all grow. It helps us all game plan. They find ways to just measure ourselves up to them and possibly beat them. That's what South Carolina has done in recent years. And again, tonight, stifling defense and a South Carolina win. Last year, UConn stormed out and blew out South Carolina.
Been a team effort, certainly, for South Carolina, both on the defensive end and the offensive end. 4 different players in double figures. They've been sharing the basketball. Different players have made big shots in the right moments for the Gamecocks.
Just a slight difference, game and shot clock. Latson kicks it out. Dawn Staley telling her team, hold it. There'll be one final inbound here. The officials will hold the players. Now Dawn and Gino getting into it a little bit on the sideline as Gino has to be held back. South Carolina has stunned UConn. The Gamecocks will play